Look at you, all scared and helpless, just like I said.
Stop! Just stop it!
Nobody's gonna help you. This is how it is.
Get your hands off me!
The Desert Rose Diner sits alone on a dusty highway, its neon sign flickering against the twilight sky. Inside, the worn floors and cracked vinyl booths tell stories of 1,000 weary travelers. But tonight, a different kind of story is about to unfold. Sarah wipes down the counter for the third time, her hands trembling slightly. 23 years old, working double shifts to pay for her mother's medical bills, she's learned to recognize trouble the moment it walks through the door. And trouble just walked in. 3 men, leather jackets, cold eyes that scan the diner like predators sizing up prey. The leader, a man with a snake tattoo crawling up his neck, smirks as he notices Sarah's nervous glance. He feels it, that intoxicating rush of power, the knowledge that in this forgotten corner of nowhere, he answers to no one. They slide into a booth, deliberately loud, deliberately claiming the space as theirs. Sarah's heart pounds as she approaches with menus, her server's smile barely masking the fear tightening her chest. Her hands shake as she sets down the menus. The leader grabs her wrist. Not hard enough to hurt, but hard enough to make a point. His fingers are cold, possessive. "What's the rush, sweetheart?" Sarah's throat constricts. She's felt this fear before, the kind that makes you feel small, invisible, worthless. The kind that whispers, you don't matter, that no one will help, that this is just how the world works for girls like her. Tears prick the corners of her eyes, but she blinks them back, refusing to give him the satisfaction. The gangsters laugh, feeding off her discomfort like wolves circling wounded prey. They're invincible here, kings of nothing, ruling over everything. But what they don't notice is the man at table 9. He's been there for an hour, nursing a black coffee that's long gone cold. Mid-40s, wearing a faded flannel shirt and a trucker cap pulled low. Weather-beaten hands wrapped around the mug. To anyone glancing his way, he's just another nobody passing through. But beneath that table, resting against his worn boots, is Hugo. The German Shepherd's dark eyes are fixed on the scene unfolding across the diner, his body coiled tight despite his seemingly relaxed posture. The dog feels his handler's elevated heart rate, reads the subtle tension in Michael's leg muscles. They've been together for 6 years, through 2 tours, through firefights and IED scares, through the long, difficult transition back to civilian life. They speak a language without words. Michael watches Sarah's face, sees the exact moment her composure begins to crack. He knows that look, has seen it on the faces of civilians in war zones, that terrible resignation that comes when you realize no one's coming to save you. Snake Tattoo is enjoying himself now. He orders Sarah around like she's his servant, snapping his fingers, making her come back again and again for trivial requests. His friends join in, creating a game of humiliation. Spilled water she has to clean up, complaints about everything, inappropriate comments that make her cheeks burn with shame. Sarah feels herself shrinking, disappearing. The other few customers in the diner avoid eye contact, suddenly fascinated by their plates. She's alone in a room full of people, and the injustice of it threatens to break her. Why does the world let men like this win? Why does being afraid make you powerless? When Snake Tattoo's hand moves to grab her again, something inside Sarah finally fractures. That's enough. The voice cuts through the diner like a blade, calm, steady, and carrying the weight of absolute authority. Everyone turns. The man from table 9 is standing now. The trucker cap is off, revealing steel gray hair and eyes that have seen things these boys couldn't imagine in their worst nightmares. Michael doesn't look angry. He looks certain. Snake Tattoo's smirk falters for just a second before his ego reasserts itself. He stands, his friends flanking him, their collective bravado rebuilding like a wall. "Old man, you should mind your—" "Leave. Now." 2 words. No threat, no bluster. Just a simple statement of what will happen next. The leader feels his pride wounded. He's been challenged, disrespected in front of his crew. His identity, his entire sense of self, is built on being feared, being in control. This nobody in a flannel shirt has just torn that away. Rage floods through him, drowning out the small voice of self-preservation whispering in his brain. He steps forward, fist clenched. He takes one more step. And then the world explodes into fur and fury. Hugo moves like liquid lightning. One moment he's beneath the table, the next he's a 90-pound wall of protective instinct, placing himself between Michael and the threat. His growl is primal, a sound that reaches back to when wolves guarded their packs in ancient forests. The lead gangster freezes mid-step, his bravado evaporating like water on hot pavement. Hugo doesn't bite, doesn't need to. He plants his paws on the man's chest and drives him backward into the booth with controlled, devastating precision. The gangster crashes into the vinyl seat, and Hugo stands over him, paws pinning his shoulders, muzzle inches from his face. The dog's eyes are locked on his, and what the man sees there is not rage, but something far more terrifying. Absolute focus, military discipline, and the unwavering promise that any further movement will be answered decisively. The other two gangsters stumble backward, all their borrowed courage gone. Michael stands silent, one hand raised in a subtle signal. Hugo holds position, a living reminder of consequences. In this moment, the gangsters understand what they should have known from the beginning. There are still places in this world where bullies don't win, where good men stand up, where justice, even rough justice, still exists. "You going to behave?" Michael asks quietly. The nods are frantic. With a single gesture, Michael calls Hugo back. The dog retreats smoothly, positioning himself at Michael's side, still vigilant but controlled. The gangsters leave cash on the table, more than their bill, and stumble toward the door. As they pass Sarah, the leader's eyes drop to the floor. Shame, hot and unfamiliar, floods through him. For the first time in years, he sees himself clearly. Not powerful, not fearsome, just small and cruel. The door closes behind them, and the diner releases its collective breath. Sarah stands frozen, tears now flowing freely down her cheeks. But they're not tears of fear anymore. They're relief, gratitude, and the overwhelming emotion of being seen, being protected, being valued as a human being worthy of dignity. Michael returns to his table, settling Hugo beside him once more. He catches Sarah's eye and offers the smallest nod, not a hero's bow, just one person acknowledging another. Sarah brings him a fresh coffee, her hands steady for the first time all night. "Thank you," she whispers, her voice thick with emotion. "I don't know how to—" She places the coffee down and kneels beside Hugo, who leans into her touch as she scratches behind his ears. The dog's tail thumps softly against the floor, a simple reminder that not all protection requires words, that sometimes the best guardians are the ones who ask for nothing in return. Heroes don't always wear uniforms. Sometimes they have 4 paws and absolute loyalty. If you loved this story, please hit like and subscribe for more videos like this.